I'm talking today to a range of British companies, successful young entrepreneurial businesses, some in quite established sectors, clothing for example, economic advice, but others wholly disruptive in what they offer. Most of them innovative, disruptive, driven by creativity and by a new approach to things.
The theme for this morning was actually a little bit of a chance conversation that both the IOD is very much looking at businesses growing. For the first time you can see the UK being in the top for the G7 in terms of expectations. And as I said, on the bottom line we're seeing people invest in resources, expansion, looking at markets, but there's a real sense of fear, of confidence that wasn't there before.
I think there's certainly lots of opportunity for growth. I think it's interesting, talking to people in, whatever industry it is, everyone's having to work so much harder to make money. From my perspective, it's really important that the people that we are supplying are looking after their supply chain, because it's so critical to the success of their business.
I've seen that over the last 10 years change. So we operate sort of a core nucleus of employees, and then we have 1,000 associates that we can draw upon, but without having the stress or strains of having that overhead when we don't need them.
What I probably found more than anything is the sporadic nature to how business happens. So every rule that we've had before that, March is a good month, April's a bad month, whatever it might be, doesn't apply now. And actually every year we have completely different stats as to where our business is coming from and how our business is growing.
I think one of the most interesting things is in challenging times, it's the entrepreneur that sort of looks at other avenues just to make sure that we can continually grow.
Without innovation, I think it's very, very difficult to be heard. So one thing that we've always tried to do at Mr. and Mrs. Smith is be different and innovate and try to break rules and be disruptive, I hope in a good way. And so people hope to remember you, because when they're out buying their holidays, in our instance, I want to be top of mind when they're thinking about where they're going to go and have a look.
I mean, even in the clothing industry, it is difficult to be innovative, but the sort of innovation that I encourage is that I tell the people that we hire, my team, that my company is merely a vehicle for their ambition, and I encourage them to be innovative in the way they approach their work.
In our world, a small niche engineering company, and looking from the outside in at BMW, it's probably really looking quite spangly and lovely. My suspicion is when they get there, they start designing something that won't see the light of day for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. With us, though, it would see the light of day in 5 weeks, and the ones we keep really enjoy that.
The lifeblood of our business is constant innovation. Often our best-selling line will be the one that we launched sort of 6 months ago. So for us to keep that kind of going, I mean, we are a small company. Our design base is based in London, so we can kind of foster that creative sort of feeling to the business quite easily. We can keep it there, and if you built up that right culture of, everyone being very creative, everyone being really quite entrepreneurial, giving them enough autonomy, but then there's enough structure and guidance so they don't go off on a tangent.
Actually, I didn't realise that how sort of available different types of funding mechanisms are for businesses, and actually the peer-to-peer lending actually can be a credible way of growing a company and actually getting investment into your business without having to look at more institutional investors.
Well, we did something quite innovative. We did a retail bond, so crowdfunding, which is all the rage now, and we did the first travel retail bond, and we raised £2.3 million.
So recently we've taken in some finance into our business, so we used a business growth fund, which is backed by the banks. They've got, I think, £2.5 billion to invest. But the reason we took investment from them was not because they were giving us funds, which obviously is important for business growth, but because we wanted a strategic relationship with those banks.
You see in all sectors appeals to regulators, which are actually frequently either poorly disguised or undisguised attempts by large entrenched interests to prevent disruption, prevent big entry by other big players from other parts of the globe. So yes, it's a real issue, and the regulators frequently very susceptible.
We get a lot of small companies, new entrants that come in, that will definitely be under the radar. And there's some established competitors out in the US, some of them that really don't test their products that well. So we sort of sing and make a song and dance about it and say, look, you know, it's always on like the first 1 or 2 pages of our introduction if we're going to a new group, and we say, look, you know, this is just to let you know we are covering all this. We don't say no one else isn't, but we just say, look, we are covering all this stuff. This is sort of factored into how we innovate all of our products.
London's definitely had its profile raised over the last 5 years, and it's quite cool to be headquartered in London.
I think the traditional elements of Britain is all about being authentic, being, in my business, elegance, quality, integrity. It's well respected what goes on in the UK around the world.
Britain is seen as the home of the most creative, innovative designs, and being in the film and TV, they might shoot in Budapest or anywhere because it's cheaper, but they come back to London or to the UK for post because that's where they need the creative people you don't get elsewhere.
Thank you all very much. I think we've had a very interesting discussion.